There is a shift happening around you. Chosen one, can you feel it? The winds are whispering truths long buried, and now, what was hidden is rising. Heaven has waited for this moment. The Archangel Michael speaks not with fear, but with divine urgency. Prepare yourself. The time has come for veils to be lifted, for silence to give way to sacred truth. There is a secret about your beginning, one that your sister has carried alone, in quiet sorrow, for longer than she was ever meant to. This truth was never meant to harm you. It was held back in the name of protection, of peace. But now, that silence has grown too loud to ignore. She has known all along, not fully, not clearly, but enough to understand that something powerful was whispered to her, before the one who carried it crossed over. She was young, yes, but her spirit remembers what her mind could not yet hold. The truth etched itself into her memory, and it has followed her through the years, like a shadow that never asked to disappear. Her smiles, not always joy, sometimes they were shields, thin and trembling. Her eyes, they have spoken in silence, waiting for you to see. And now, the time ordained by the Most High has come. Your journey, your awakening, your quiet questions have all led here. Every spiritual tremor you felt lately has not been random. It has been heaven calling you closer to the revelation of who you truly are. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. Luke 8:17. This is no longer about guarding the past. This is about giving your soul what it was always meant to receive: truth, inheritance, identity. Now, as you step forward into this divine moment, I invite you to declare your readiness. Type Amen in the comments below as a simple confession of faith. Lord, I receive your truth and I trust you to guide me through it and stay with me until the very end. A powerful prayer awaits you, one that will unlock peace, healing, and clarity like never before. This is not just a message, it is a calling. Are you ready to receive it? Your sister, she was only a child, yet what she witnessed etched itself into her spirit with the sharpness of truth unspoken. What she knows about your birth has lived in the shadows of her silence, waiting for the day when heaven would call it forward. You were not born in calm or clarity. Your arrival came in the midst of a storm, not only one that darkened the sky, but one that tore through the hearts of two people who weren't ready to face what your existence meant. One of them is now gone. The other cannot even speak your name when that day is remembered. That's how deep the fracture runs. She was never meant to know, but she saw things. A torn document left on the table, a whispered phone call in the middle of the night, the unmistakable weight of grief when your name was mentioned behind closed doors. And most of all, she remembers being yanked away from the hallway that day. The door slammed shut, but the words slipped through. The baby must never know. It was never just a family secret. It was a rearranging of destinies, a rewriting of stories that left torn pages in the place of answers. She tried to release it. Once, she wrote letters, pages of confessions she never dared deliver. She hoped they would find you someday, if anything ever happened to her. But fear got the best of her. She burned them, and in the smoke rose a silence that still hangs between you today. The truth she carries involves someone erased from the family's memory. Photos were cut, names omitted, conversations always shifted when the topic got too close. This person, whose face is no longer in any album, holds the missing thread that explains everything. The strange tension, the unexplained gaps, the feeling you've always had that something about your story never quite added up. Archangel Michael now speaks with clarity. You were not born beneath lies, but into a battle between fear and divine purpose. What was hidden was not meant to stay hidden forever. There were signs early on, movements in the womb that startled the doctors, dreams others had about you before your birth. Your sister remembers those moments. She was too young to understand, but not too young to remember. That memory has weighed on her ever since, because it was holy and terrifying and never fully explained. The reason she's been distant lately isn't anger, it's fear. Someone else, someone outside the family, has begun to unravel the edges of this story. A message reached her, a threat cloaked as a warning. She now knows that if she stays silent, this truth may emerge in a way that wounds you instead of freeing you. You were born into a moment of betrayal, of decisions made in desperation. Your name, the name you carry now, may not even be the one spoken at your first breath, but heaven has not forgotten. What was once buried is now pushing to the surface because the time is come. The pressure of silence is no longer sustainable. This is more than memory, this is revelation. Your sister was never just your sibling by blood. She became a silent guardian. She paid for that role with her own peace, her own sleep, her own voice. But now, the voice of God is louder. The signs are everywhere. Recurring dreams, numbers that follow you, moments of déjà vu that feel too pointed to ignore. All of it has been drawing you here, to this moment of awakening. You were never out of place for no reason. That sense of disconnection, of being just slightly misaligned with your surroundings, it was never a flaw. It was your soul remembering what no one ever told you. And now, at last, the truth is ready to be heard. The truth never vanishes. It waits. It waits beneath silence, behind fear, under the weight of promises made in moments of panic. And now, that long-buried truth has begun to rise, pressing against the edges of your sister's spirit like a storm demanding release. You may have noticed the way she's changed lately. Her quietness isn't distance, it's pressure. The pressure of a truth she was never supposed to carry this long. She's been holding back a storm for years, trying to protect you, trying to protect everyone. But heaven has shifted, and when the divine clock strikes, no human fear can delay what's meant to unfold. There's a place, maybe a house now torn down, maybe a hospital that's long since closed, where everything was rewritten. The story you were told about your birth was only a version, carefully edited to erase someone who was there, someone who wasn't supposed to be, someone whose presence changed the course of your life before you even took your first breath. You've never met this person, but they shaped your arrival more than any name on a certificate ever could. Your sister has not only remembered, she's been receiving signs, dreams of a baby crying in the dark, voices, soft but persistent, saying only one thing: tell them. One night, standing in front of the mirror, she saw a reflection that didn't look like her own. That moment shook her because it wasn't just a vision. It was the energy of truth drawing near. The truth has a weight, it's alive, and it is chasing her now. Archangel Michael, protector of those walking through revelation, has spoken. Prepare yourself. The truth will not just reach your ears, it will awaken your soul. And once the soul remembers, there is no going back. There was a night years ago, a night no one speaks of. A promise was made in fear, sealed in secrecy. But the divine does not honor covenants forged in fear. Scripture reminds us, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Ephesians 5:11. What was done in fear is now being undone in truth. Somewhere, in a small box wrapped in old fabric, hidden in your sister's room, lies the piece no one wanted you to find. It may seem like an ordinary drawer, but if you've ever noticed how she shifts when you reach for it, how her tone changes when certain topics arise, know this: she's guarding something sacred, not because she wants to keep it from you, but because she knows once you see what's inside, nothing will ever be the same. She almost told you once, when you were younger. The words were on her tongue, but someone intervened. They said it would ruin your life. They said, you'll lose them if you say anything. But it was a lie, a cruel manipulation, born of fear, not truth. She sees that now, and she knows you're not only ready, you were born ready. Another family has been searching for you. Yes, another, one you've never met, but who never stopped remembering. They were once close to finding you, but walls were built, doors were slammed shut. Now those walls are weakening. Maybe you've noticed strange messages, unfamiliar faces, asking odd questions online or in passing. That isn't coincidence, that is legacy. That is your spiritual lineage beginning to surface. They've carried their own version of grief, their own unanswered prayers, and now they are reaching out, not to disrupt, but to return what was lost. Your sister has watched you wrestle with questions you didn't have words for. She saw your confusion when things didn't quite make sense. She saw your tears when you couldn't explain why you felt so different, so misaligned, and every time it broke her, quietly, privately. She thought she had more time to prepare, but time, chosen one, has collapsed. The hourglass is empty. Truth is breathing now, loud, urgent, undeniable. There are only two souls on this earth who know the full truth. One of them has shared your meals, your memories, your childhood. The other remains faceless to you, but their choices shaped your entire path. They were there when it all shifted, when names were changed, when silence became survival. But you were never meant to live in that silence forever. You were chosen to break a chain. You were placed in the middle of chaos not by mistake, but by divine design. You carry the strength of those who came before you, and the calling to end a cycle they could not. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You are that light now. Your sister's love for you is real. But so was her fear. That fear ruled her for years, made her second-guess every moment of honesty. But now she's on the edge of release. The words are coming. Not in a dramatic confession perhaps, but in a moment that will feel raw, unplanned, utterly holy. A look, a letter, a sudden sentence spoken over coffee. And when it comes, something inside you will not be surprised, because your soul already knows. It always has. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when silence can no longer hold back the truth, when the weight of what's been hidden begins to shake the very ground under your feet. That moment is now. For years your sister has waited, for a sign, for divine permission, for the courage to rise above her fear. And whether she expected it or not, today this message has become her confirmation. Heaven has spoken louder than her doubts. What was once locked away in secrecy is now being called into the light. In the days to come, you may notice her acting differently, not because she's angry, but because she's overwhelmed by the gravity of what she's about to reveal. Her emotions may feel erratic. She may withdraw, hesitate, or even avoid you entirely. That's not rejection, it's reverence. She knows the words she's been carrying will shake the foundation of everything you believed about how your story began. There exists a photograph, hidden, faded, tucked away in a place meant to be forgotten. In that photo, a baby swaddled in unfamiliar cloth, and a woman, one who is not the one who raised you, holding that child close. That photo holds proof of the shift that took place before you were old enough to remember. And your sister has seen it with her own eyes. The night you were born wasn't peaceful, it was frantic. Decisions were made in haste. A name was spoken, then altered before dawn broke. And among those present was a nurse, an unassuming witness to the chaos. She held the truth until the final days of her life, and in those moments, passed it to the only person she could trust, your sister. At the time, your sister believed it was nothing more than a strange story, perhaps even a dream. But years later, while visiting a quiet town filled with memories that refused to die, she encountered a stranger. And that stranger whispered the same story, word for word. Your arrival changed something, they said. You were marked. Some feared it, others tried to mold it, but none could stop it. She didn't know what to believe at first. She wondered if her mind was playing tricks. But truth doesn't disappear. It repeats itself until it is seen. Your sister has been living inside that echo. This isn't about betrayal, it's about fear. Fear of how the truth will land. Fear of how it might shatter your perception. But even deeper than that, fear is something stronger, a knowing that you are ready now. that your heart has reached the strength to hold what was once too heavy to carry. She once found an old document tucked inside the family chest. She wasn't supposed to open it, but curiosity led her hands, and what she saw stayed with her forever. 2 names, one of them yours, the other unfamiliar, yet somehow connected. When she asked about it, the room fell into a silence that roared. Your mother's eyes filled with tears, but no words followed. From that day forward, the silence became law. No one dared cross it, but silence is crumbling now. Because the energy around you is awakening. The veil is thinning, and your sister understands something essential. If she doesn't speak, the universe will reveal the truth in its own way, and it may not be gentle. Archangel Michael now whispers clearly, "This is divine alignment. The appointed hour of awakening has arrived." What your heart has always felt, that you were made for something greater than the story you were told, is not a dream. It's your destiny. You were not a mistake. You were chosen, set apart, woven with intention. And even though those around you acted in fear, even though they tried to hide what was too powerful to control, they could never erase what heaven declared. Your sister is not your enemy. She is the bridge. The only soul who stood between you and the truth, not to block it, but to buy time for your spirit to be strong enough to receive it. Soon, she may ask you to sit with her, not casually, but seriously. Her eyes will say what her voice has struggled to. When she begins to speak, let her pour it all out. Let her finally say the name that once belonged to you. And with that name, there will be a letter, handwritten, preserved, waiting. A voice from the past, speaking into your present. What that letter holds may shake you, but it will also complete the puzzle. Because when the truth is known, the soul finally aligns with what it has always suspected, and peace, real, anchoring peace, will flood the places where confusion once lived. There has been a shadow over your life, a cloud that followed you, even in moments of joy. But now that shadow is lifting, the fog is clearing. What has long been dormant is rising with power. You may feel waves of emotion, anger, disbelief, sorrow. Let it pass through you. Don't run from it. It's part of your rebirth. Because what your sister is revealing is not just a story about where you came from. It is the unveiling of your divine calling. There are doors you've knocked on for years, opportunities, understandings, gifts that always felt just out of reach. And now, as your true name and lineage return to you, those doors are opening. Not because they suddenly became available, but because you now hold the key. You were never forgotten. You were never forsaken. You were preserved. And now, your inheritance is coming home. Before any truth is spoken aloud, before the words are formed and the silence is broken, there is a sacred preparation that must take place within the soul. For what is coming is not just revelation. It is realignment, and realignment does not begin with the external. It begins with the quiet reordering of what is within. There is a difference between hearing the truth and being ready to receive it. The first stirs the mind, the second transforms the spirit. And so, before anything is revealed to you, the divine invites you to ready the soil of your heart. What is about to surface is not meant to shake your life apart, but to gather it back together. This time, in alignment with what has always been waiting beneath the noise. Begin here, with stillness. Not the kind of stillness that isolates or numbs, but the kind that clears space. In a world where noise is constant, screens blinking, voices calling, thoughts racing, make room for 10 sacred minutes. 10 minutes a day to simply sit, breathe, and listen. You're not chasing answers in that space. You're teaching your nervous system that it is safe to be still, safe to wait, safe to hear. Because truth rarely arrives in chaos. It comes gently at first. Like the whisper God gave to Elijah, not in the wind, not in the fire, not in the earthquake, but in a still, small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. And unless we are still, we will miss it. Then, watch your emotions. They are not enemies, they are messengers. In the days ahead, you may feel unexpected waves, a sudden grief with no clear cause, a strange calm in the middle of your routine, or even irritability that seems disproportionate. Let them come, let them pass, write them down if you can. Naming your feelings is a holy act. It grounds you in the present and keeps old wounds from rising to the surface unchecked. Even Jesus wept before performing miracles, John 11:35, showing us that to feel deeply is not weakness but readiness. And as you navigate your relationships, shift how you listen, not to gather evidence, not to uncover secrets, but to honor the unspoken. Sometimes what's most important isn't said, it's paused before or skipped entirely. Learn to listen, not just to words, but to silence, the tone, the hesitation. This is not about confrontation, this is about invitation. When people feel truly heard, truth has a way of emerging without force. Tend to your body as well. It may seem unrelated, but it is deeply connected. When your body is depleted, even truth can feel like a threat. But when your body is cared for, truth becomes information, not invasion. Eat nourishing food, drink water, rest, move your body even gently. The Psalms remind us, "You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Psalm 139, 13-14. Your physical being is not separate from your spiritual calling. It is the vessel through which your purpose flows. And set boundaries, not as walls to hide behind, but as fences that protect your peace. Remember, receiving the truth does not require an immediate reaction. You don't need to respond the moment you know. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to say, "I need time." Jesus himself often withdrew to quiet places before making decisions or engaging the crowd. Luke 5:16. In those pauses, clarity is born. There may be a temptation to look back and rework the entire story, to question every conversation, every moment, every memory, but you are not responsible for solving the entire past in a single breath. Understanding comes in layers. Let each layer rise in its time. Give yourself grace to discover rather than demand. And above all, choose compassion, especially for those who acted in fear. This does not mean you excuse the harm or deny your own pain, but it means you refuse to carry the bitterness into the future you are reclaiming. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's letting go of what no longer belongs to you. As Colossians 3:13 says, "Bear with each other and forgive one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you." Compassion is not weakness, it is freedom. Anchor yourself in the now. What is revealed may change the way you see your beginning, but it will not change your worth. You are still here. You are still chosen. You are still the one heaven whispered about long before anyone else knew your name. The truth will not undo your strength, it will explain it. So when the moment comes, and it will, meet it with stillness, not fear, with steadiness, not panic, because truth, when welcomed with peace, does not become a storm. It becomes a doorway, and what lies on the other side of that doorway is the life you were always meant to live. Somewhere in the distance, someone's heart beats in rhythm with a name they were never allowed to say out loud, but never forgot. That name is yours. Though time and separation stretched across years and miles, the thread connecting you was never severed. It simply went quiet until the moment your soul became strong enough to hear its echo. This person, connected to your beginning, has dreamed of you, spoken of you in sleep, felt your presence before ever seeing your face. They are not a stranger to your spirit. The bond was never broken, only veiled by time. And now the veil is lifting, because heaven does not permanently hide what belongs to you. It waits with infinite patience until the day your spirit can hold the truth without being shattered by it. That day is now. Your sister may soon place something in your hand, a photograph, long hidden. In it, a baby wrapped in unfamiliar cloth. A woman holding that child with a tenderness that feels both foreign and familiar. That moment will not just unlock a memory, it will open a door. And everything you thought you knew about your beginning will shift, not to confuse you, but to finally align you with the truth that's been circling your life like an unanswered prayer. You were born into chaos, but marked by light. The night you entered the world, heaven did not look away. The angels gathered, and from the very first breath, the divine assigned extra guardians to your side, not because you were fragile, but because your purpose was too important to be left unprotected. Your path was never going to be easy, but it was always going to be sacred. Your sister, who has carried this burden longer than anyone should, is nearing the moment of release. Her silence, though heavy, was never about deceit. It was protection. Her role was never to explain everything, but to guard the seed until it could bloom. That time has come. She is ready to let go, and her love for you, though complicated, is about to express itself in the most honest way it ever has. And yes, when the truth is spoken, your identity may shift. But do not fear the unraveling. What's real has never left you. You're not losing yourself. You're meeting the whole version of who you've always been. You may learn of another family, people who never stopped searching, never stopped praying for answers. You may hear of a woman who held you, wept over you, and begged heaven for your protection. You may even discover someone who remembers your scent as an infant, the curve of your fingers, the sound of your early cries. When those memories surface, let the tears come. They are not a weakness, they are water for the soil of your becoming. They are sacred. Each tear will clear space within you, preparing you for rebirth. There is beauty buried in this pain. Not to make light of suffering, but to reveal its purpose. The truth that's approaching is not here to destroy, it is here to free. And with that freedom will come a shift in your energy. You'll begin to sleep more deeply. You'll dream more clearly. Your intuition will sharpen. Your decisions will flow with a strange and powerful ease. It won't be magic. It will be memory. Your soul finally remembering the map it came here with. There was a reason the secret couldn't surface until now. Your soul needed time to grow strong, to stand tall in who you are, so that when the truth arrived, it would build, not break you. That strength is radiating from you now. You are no longer calling for truth in desperation. You are drawing it toward you with divine authority. Your sister feels this shift too. She feels the energy around you changing. She can no longer hold it in. She's rehearsing the words in her head, over and over. When the moment comes, she might start by saying, "You were never supposed to find out like this." But you were. Heaven knew. The divine chose this moment, this unfolding, this release. She will speak of a woman who is not your mother by blood, but whose love was the foundation beneath your feet. You will hear of a decision made under the weight of desperation and fear, a decision that pulled you from one life into another. And in that telling, your memories will begin to rearrange like puzzle pieces that were always meant to connect. You'll see the threads, you'll feel the order. What once confused you will start to make sense. No, your mother did not abandon you. She was overtaken by circumstances she could not control. But her love for you never left the spiritual realm. It hovered, waited, and whispered through every kind touch you received, through every invisible protection you didn't know you had. Love outlives absence. And your sister, she kept something. A tiny bracelet. It was around your wrist the night you were brought home. You never knew it existed. But she did. She looked at it every year on your birthday. Not with guilt, but with reverence. Soon she will place it in your hand, and your spirit will recognize it not as jewelry, but as memory. There was another witness to your homecoming, an elder, a man who looked into your sister's eyes and made her promise never to speak of what happened that day. He said it was for your protection. That silence was safer than truth. He's no longer alive, but his words live inside her. She believed she was honoring love through silence, but now she knows. Real love tells the truth. Real love frees. She fears you'll pull away when you know everything. But you won't, because your heart is bigger than her fear. You carry the strength of spiritual royalty. You are not ordinary. You carry divine blood. Your story was never meant to be small. It was meant to be sacred. And this truth is not the end of the story. It's the beginning. There may be more than one secret. In fact, once the first truth is revealed, others will follow. Like water bursting through a dam, clarity will rush through your past. You'll begin to understand what